Pokémon has generated, across its entire history, more than $280 billion in revenue. That number is, as of this video, larger than the lifetime revenue of Star Wars and the Marvel Cinematic Universe combined. It is larger than Mickey Mouse. It is larger than Hello Kitty. It is larger than any other media franchise that has ever existed, by a margin that is not close. In 2024 alone, the franchise generated over $12 billion in retail sales. That single year is comparable to the entire lifetime revenue of many successful media franchises. The standard explanation for Pokémon's success is that the original Game Boy game from 1996 was a hit. The Nintendo handhelds carried the franchise, and the brand has been around for 30 years. This explanation is incomplete to the point of being wrong. The reason Pokémon is the largest entertainment franchise in history is not that the games were popular. The games were popular. So were thousands of other games that did not become $200 billion franchises. The structural reason Pokémon is what it is comes down to a small number of decisions made in 1996, 1998, and 1999. Those decisions did not look unusual at the time. In retrospect, they were the architecture that made everything else possible. To understand what Pokémon got right, you have to understand what most other game franchises got wrong. Most game franchises in the 1990s were single-medium franchises. Sonic the Hedgehog was a game. Mario was a game. Final Fantasy was a game. The franchises released merchandise, but the merchandise was a secondary revenue stream that depended on the games. If the games stopped selling, the merchandise stopped selling. If the games changed dramatically, the merchandise had to chase the change. Pokémon was, from its design phase, a different kind of object. It was not designed as a game. It was designed as a collection. The game was one expression of the collection. The cards were another expression. The animated television series was another. The films were another. The toys were another. The trading cards were another. Each expression of Pokémon reinforced the others. The game taught children which Pokémon were valuable. The cards let them own those Pokémon. The show let them watch those Pokémon. The toys let them play with those Pokémon. The films let them see those Pokémon at scale. This was, in 1996, an unusual design. The franchise's parent companies, Nintendo, Game Freak, and Creatures Inc., had structured a joint ownership that ensured every expression of the brand was developed with the others in mind. There was no scenario where the game went one direction, the show went another, and the cards went a third. Everything was coordinated from a single creative direction. The second structural decision was the launch of the Pokémon trading card game in 1996, the same year as the first game. Most franchises wait until a game is successful before launching merchandise. Pokémon launched the trading card game simultaneously. The cards reinforced the game. The game reinforced the cards. The cards were also, importantly, designed to be valuable as physical objects. Rarity tiers, limited print runs, promotional cards. The cards turned every child who played the game into a collector with an investment in the franchise. By the time the Pokémon anime aired in 1997, the franchise already had 3 coordinated revenue streams. The game was successful. The cards were successful. The anime gave both of those products a visual identity that worked on television. The third decision, made between 1997 and 1999, was the international rollout. Most Japanese franchises in the late 1990s did not have a serious international strategy. They licensed their properties to local distributors, who handled localization, marketing, and distribution however they wanted. Pokémon's international rollout was, by contrast, centrally coordinated. Nintendo's international subsidiaries handled the games. A company called 4Kids handled the anime localization. Wizards of the Coast handled the trading card game in English-speaking markets. Each of these regional partners reported back to the Pokémon Company in Japan, which maintained creative control over the brand globally. The result was that Pokémon, in 1998 and 1999, launched simultaneously into the United States as a coordinated multi-format media event. The cards arrived. The games arrived. The animated series arrived on American television, with localization that was, by Japanese animation industry standards of the time, exceptionally aggressive. The 4Kids dub of the original Pokémon series rewrote dialogue, replaced character names, removed culturally Japanese references, and generally restructured the show to be a Saturday morning cartoon that an American child would not perceive as foreign. This localization was, at the time, controversial. Anime purists complained that the show had been damaged in translation. The actual result, in revenue terms, was that an entire generation of American children grew up with Pokémon as part of their childhood, without ever consciously noticing that the franchise was Japanese. The fourth structural decision was the most important. Pokémon was designed from the start to be expandable. Every new generation of Pokémon games introduced new Pokémon, new mechanics, and new regions. The franchise was not built around a single set of characters with a fixed canon. It was built around a system that could accept new characters indefinitely. This is, structurally, the opposite of how almost every other media franchise works. Star Wars has a finite set of characters. Marvel has a large but ultimately finite set of characters. Disney's princesses are individuals with specific stories that have to be honored. Pokémon's characters are creatures in a system. The system can absorb new creatures forever without compromising the existing ones. A child who started playing Pokémon in 1996 with the original 150 creatures can pick up a 2024 Pokémon game and find over 1,000 creatures, including the original 150, treated with the same internal logic. This expandability is the engine that has driven the franchise's continued growth across 30 years. Each new generation has added new players without subtracting old ones. The lifetime revenue keeps compounding because the audience keeps adding, not replacing. There is a fifth decision that is worth examining, which is the franchise's deliberate avoidance of media fatigue. Most franchises that try to maintain decades of activity eventually overexpose their audience. Marvel, in the years after Endgame, faced backlash for releasing too much content. Star Wars, in the years after the original trilogy, struggled through periods of audience exhaustion. Disney has periodically had to retire and revive characters. Pokémon has mostly avoided this. The release schedule has been steady but not frantic. A new mainline game every few years. A new generation every 5 to 6 years. The anime continuing in the background as a constant. The films released annually but treated as supplemental. The trading card game expanding steadily without being aggressively marketed to lapsed audiences. The franchise's marketing has been consistently aimed at children, not at adults who used to be children. Children. This is, again, structurally different from how most legacy franchises operate. Most legacy franchises chase their original audience as that audience ages. Pokémon does not. Pokémon assumes a new generation of children will arrive every year, and that those children will encounter Pokémon at age 7 or 8, the same way previous generations did. The result is that Pokémon has, for nearly 30 years, maintained a continuous incoming audience pipeline. Every year, a new generation of 7-year-olds discovers Pokémon for the first time. Most of them stop playing actively by their teens. Some of them keep playing into adulthood. Some of them come back when they have children of their own. All of them buy merchandise at various points in their lives. This is the actual mechanism by which Pokémon generated $280 billion. The franchise built an infrastructure that could absorb new audiences continuously without losing old ones, across multiple coordinated media expressions, with central creative control maintained across 30 years. When other franchises try to replicate this, they usually fail. Disney has tried to build expandable systems like the Marvel Cinematic Universe and has succeeded in revenue terms, but at significant fatigue cost. Star Wars has tried to expand its character universe and has produced repeated audience backlash. Nintendo's other franchises have tried to expand and have remained mostly single-medium properties. The Pokémon architecture is reproducible in theory and almost impossible to reproduce in practice. The reproduction would require 30 years of patient discipline, central creative control across multiple companies, and a willingness to keep marketing to children as the primary audience, even after that audience grows up. Most companies are not capable of this. Pokémon is, so far, the only franchise that has fully demonstrated it. If you found this interesting, subscribe. We go deep on the structural reasons certain franchises compound across decades while others collapse. Drop your requests in the comments. Thanks for watching.